The second chance at greatness is not a reward for past victories, but a terrifying curriculum in humility that demands you unlearn every instinct of your former power to earn the right to wield it again without repeating the arrogance that destroyed you. In the Last Legend Reborn, Borgy60 delivers a regression LitRPG that transforms the overpowered protagonist trope into a profound exploration of legacy trauma and earned mastery, proving that in worlds where strength is inherited through memory, true progression requires the patience to be weak before you can be whole. This isn't merely another reincarnation saga with flashy skills. It's a psychologically precise narrative where every recalled technique feels like both gift and ghost. Consent to advance is negotiated through integration rather than accumulation. And leveling up means honoring the cost of power when the system demands endless consumption. From the first nostalgic yet haunted narration, listeners are immersed in a landscape where nostalgia is weaponized and presence is the only true XP. Perfect for fans of emotionally complex progression fantasy and stories where male vulnerability defies genre expectations, this audiobook serves up atmospheric intensity, relentless emotional honesty, and a protagonist whose journey from legendary failure to sovereign beginner resonates with anyone who's ever mistaken competence for wisdom. When fallen hero Kalen Vance awakens decades in the past with all his memories intact, he expects strategic advantage, not to discover his foreknowledge replicates the exact isolation that led to his original downfall, and the system's regression bonus forces him to confront the grief he buried beneath legendary status. But as Kalen navigates familiar dungeons and fractured alliances, he realizes this rebirth isn't about domination, it's about recalibration. Borgy60 masterfully avoids reducing Kalen to smug veteran or the world to grind-friendly backdrop. Instead, they craft a narrative where regression becomes therapeutic framework, where consent is renegotiated through boundary setting within systemic constraints, and where liberation requires seeing the past as mirror rather than map. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional precision, capturing Kalen's disciplined focus fracturing into genuine receptivity, while secondary voices shift subtly between predatory ambition and hidden solidarity, making every encounter feel like both test and testimony. You don't just hear him level up, you feel the seismic shift of a man learning that some legends can only be rebuilt when you stop trying to recreate them. What elevates The Last Legend Reborn beyond typical regression LitRPG fare is its nuanced portrayal of second chances as somatic practice rather than abstract optimization. Kalen isn't merely exploiting knowledge, he's confronting how hero culture taught him to equate worth with utility, challenging the notion that survival requires emotional erasure. His relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences during cooldown periods that bypass performance, establishing party dynamics that protect both operational integrity and psychological safety, and defending allies' right to rest against systems that mistake exhaustion for dedication. Supporting characters add vital texture, fellow adventurers whose strategies encode unprocessed trauma, NPCs whose scripted lives reflect institutional precarity, even the dungeon itself, rendered as living archive whose corridors absorb centuries of unspoken sorrow. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In economies built on extraction, tenderness is technique, and presence is the only sustainable resource. Even the LitRPG mechanics serve thematic depth, with skill trees mirroring emotional integration, and quest logs becoming metaphors for earned autonomy. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into reflective intensity. The narrator embodies Kalen's evolution with remarkable range, from clipped professionalism to trembling openness during breakthroughs, while supporting characters are distinguished through vocal textures that honor diverse expressions of resilience without caricature. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming immersion. Distant monster roars marking temporal rhythm, rain against tavern windows during vulnerable confessions, the hushed rustle of parchment sinking with breath during moments of clarity. All anchor mythic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of regression recovery, deliberate during reflection and foundational bonding, then surging with urgency as external threats collide with internal awakenings. Whether you're commuting through sedentary routines or moving through active days, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and embodiment feels lifeline. It's storytelling as somatic validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where ascension isn't about rising above limits, but about rooting deeper within them. Ultimately, The Last Legend Reborn redefines regression LitRPG by centering male emotional labor within systemic frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for satisfying progression and high-stakes tension, while delivering substantive commentary on toxic productivity, identity formation, and the radical act of trusting your whole self when systems demand fragmentation. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey.
If you've ever wondered whether strength can coexist with softness, or if true mastery requires embracing what others fear, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply choosing to begin again. Press play, close the menu, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by excess, hearts still find ways to focus. Your next favorite lit RPG isn't waiting in flawless builds. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to specialize in being human.